Freya, again, turning to the much less significant matters to do, but obviously important when it comes to a federal election. But moments like these, deep for people of faith. Again, I don't hide that I'm not a person of faith, but I'm deeply respectful of people of faith and people of different faiths who recognise the significance of the passing of a person of such eminence for so many people around the world.
Yeah, and I think it should be hopefully a moment for us all to kind of come together and remember what's really important.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in the cut and thrust of everyday politics, who's spending on what, who's going to fix this roundabout or that crossing. But actually, we are all here on this earth for something so much bigger than that. And I think people like the Pope really remind us that there is a higher and a better way to live our lives, one that is all about self-sacrifice and really just living your life for the good of others. And I think that's an inspiring example for us sitting here and hopefully as well for our political leaders.
Beautifully said. All right, well, let's talk about the election. And yes, that is a clunky gear change, but there has to be one because voting starts tomorrow. My view is go and vote tomorrow. You know, sure, go back a couple of Saturdays' time and go and have your sausage sizzle and pay for the cake stalls and all of that. It is annoying when half of everyone votes early that those cake stalls don't make what they used to. But decision time is now. Matt, perfect example about where we have gone in the past couple of years. The bloke who promised to make things better, everything is a whole lot more expensive. You went shopping, but you went armed with the prices from before this government was elected and compared it to the reality of 3 years under them.
Yeah, that's right, Paul. Michelle Landry and I went down to the local Woolies today and I'd found some old catalogues from believe it or not, pre-poll 3 years ago. So the 2 weeks that we're just about to go into 3 years ago, before Anthony Albanese was Prime Minister. And just to get these figures right, the shopping trolley I recreated would have cost $132 before Anthony Albanese. Today, it set Michelle and I back $215, a 63% increase. Just to take some examples here, Paul, I've got the catalogues here in front of me. Weet-Bix was $1.90 3 years ago. $1.90 for a medium-sized box of Weet-Bix. $4.40 today. $4.40. Your brekie's costing a lot more. Cup of tea, you might want a cup of tea to calm yourself down after that. But Twinings, $5.60 for an 80-pack here. Today, that set us back $13.50.
Wow.
Just unbelievable. You know, everybody knows this. You inherently know this when you see that the counter just go up so quickly with hardly having anything in your trolley. But it is so stark when you see it here, and it's an indictment of this government. I mean, a big part of it is because energy is costing so much now to this government, their obsession with renewables. They haven't just not delivered you your $275 power cut, they haven't delivered a power cut to all of the businesses that manufacture these goods, that transport these goods, your groceries, and that means a cost, because the cost of power is important for the cost of everything. That means when the Anthony Albanese and the Labor Party let the cost of power go up, the cost of everything goes up. And I just don't think we can afford another 3 years of this. 60% increase in this shopping trolley in 3 years. Do we want that again for the next 3?
Well, and also, really important here, a lot of this stuff made here, right, packaged here, so they're going to turn around and say, oh, the international shock from this and all of that, which is generally the way they talk. And yes, of course, inflation has existed in other places, but things can be exacerbated by, you know, this great want to make things in Australia. Well, if they're going to do it any time in the next 10 years, it's going to be under an energy market that has to pay off the hundreds of billions of dollars in transition, Freya. I think this is a really interesting moment. Because, look, we know where the polls are, we know where the bookies are, so there's no surprise if we end up where all of they say. But the reason I went through with such specificity and focus the receipts of the past 3 years versus the promise of the last 3 years is that that's what the election's about. And I hope that there was lots of family conversations that happened this weekend when somebody's trying to sort of go off and talk about the thing they saw on Instagram. You know, you've engaged with some of the lefties that sort of want to go off and just talk sort of pixie stuff. There's a reality about the number of homes that are hard to pay off, the number of rents that's almost impossible to get, the number of rental homes that is hard to get. All of these things are controlled by government. All of these things have an input from government. And I wouldn't be surprised, and again, I'm not talking about saying there's a dramatic reversal in what we all expect to be the case, but I think there's a lot of people that are laser focused and they have to remember the last 3 years, not the last 3 weeks.
Exactly. And I think what Matt's shopping trip really shows is the concrete impact that this is having. And
Double the price of things?
It's shocking, and it's even more clear than what you get when you just see, CPI or headline inflation statistics. It doesn't really break it down by what's actually impacting people on a day-to-day basis. And those things are your groceries, your mortgages, and both of those things, your power bills, they're up dramatically. And it does raise serious concerns. If this much damage has been done in just 3 years, what would another 3 years look like? Plus another 3 years with the Greens holding the country hostage? I mean, that is just a terrifying prospect.